I think from a coaching standpoint, and speaking on behalf of my assistants, it's always fun at the end of a championship game when your players are throwing their gloves up in the air and their sticks and they're surrounding the goaltender and celebrating. It's fun for a lot of different reasons. For me personally, we see the kids work hard every day in practice. We see their commitment level on a daily basis, and it's fun to watch them celebrate because all the hard work that they've put in was worth it. And as they brought the trophy into the locker room yesterday afternoon, it's a special smile as you see on your players. And so it was a fun afternoon. It was a great tournament. We got challenged in both games. Both our opponent goaltenders played extremely well, and so the challenge was there, and we found two different ways to win hockey games and bring another championship back to Madison. So look forward to the start of the tournament. As I said a couple weeks ago, with our playoff system, everybody's back at the starting gates, and now we've got 8 teams at the starting gate, and we'll know in a couple of weeks who's going to hoist the national championship trophy. So, players get a chance to relax and be students today, and then we get back to work tomorrow and get ourselves organized and prepared for, Saturday afternoon's game here at Labana.
How difficult is it to be the team that everyone's gunning for all season? I mean, you were the number one in the preseason. You've been number one the whole way. How has your team been able to handle that?
I think staying focused on what they need to do daily and as they prepare for the next game, and try not to get ahead of yourself or, read articles or look on the internet and read about maybe how good you are or where you're ranked. If you can keep those distractions away and really focus in and hone in on what's important for that particular day, I think, that's the message we as the coaching staff relays to the players, especially at the beginning of the year. We knew we were going to be up near the top, and with the personnel we had coming back from last year's Frozen Four team, you find out you're going to be number one, and then it's, okay, we need to practice today. We need to get better. We have to prepare for St. Cloud, which we played early in the season, much earlier than we normally start season series, especially with conference games. And so that starts the process, and as a coach, and I think my assistants are the same way. It's, okay, it's Tuesday, here's what we need to do Wednesday. We're preparing for Friday night, and it's sometimes easier said than done. But I think, if it comes from the top, it comes from the coaching staff. And as I've talked about, most of the year, our leadership is good. The players understand, what we're trying to do, and they've been able to focus in on the process and really focus in on what's most important next.
Andy? Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but your dad once said that winning the WCHA was a more difficult task than winning a national championship in some years, given how strong the league was, and then you could probably say that about the WCHA year after year after year. Does that hold true for the women's game too?
I think if you look at our league this year and, the great season Duluth had, another solid, good season by Minnesota, and then you look at how the other teams within our league have improved, not only from the first half of the season to this, but to the second half. It's a tough trophy because it takes a long time, and you have to be consistent. You have to, at times stay away from injuries if you're able to do that. Within the women's game, we have these national tournaments from the standpoint of USA and Canada going on, so we're going to lose players at certain times. And so your lineup fluctuates as we go through the regular season. And if you're, like us this year, if you're able to be consistent every weekend, that gives you a chance to win the conference championship. It's a hard trophy to win. It just takes a long time, and it's a 2-semester sport and 17, 18 weeks of it, and there's a bunch of adversity, and we were able to get to the finish line and be able to win that championship. And answering your question, it's a tough trophy to win. Just like yesterday was a tough trophy to win. You go back to the starting gate, everybody's playing for something because the winner of the championship gets to go on to the NCAA tournament. So if you're North Dakota, you're looking at, here's my last chance. And, we ended up scoring a goal with a couple minutes to go in the game to win 2-1, and gave us an opportunity to play for another trophy. But it's a good competitive league, and as you've seen over the course of the last, especially 3 or 4 years, it's even gotten stronger. And so it's a good product, and it's fun to be a part of. And I think the teams that move on now, for the first time in a bunch of years, we have 3 teams coming out of our league, and so each of those 3 teams is well prepared to move on to the Frozen Four. Unfortunately, 2 of them are playing against each other, and so only one's going to come out of that bracket. But it's a tough league, and it's a tough trophy to win.
What is it about the postseason and Sydney McKibben? They seem to mix pretty well, don't they?
Yeah, well, I shook her hand yesterday after the game, and that's one of the strongest games she's played, not only this season, but probably in her career. And I remember last year doing the same thing when she got the game winner against Minnesota in the championship game. Again, elevating under the pressure, understanding what's at stake, and doing what she needed to do to lead the team. And you look at a couple of her comments at the conference ceremony yesterday. Just says the right things, goes about her business in the right way, and again, from a coaching standpoint, it's fun to see those kids get rewarded, and certainly was a big goal for us because I didn't know if we were going to score yesterday the way the puck was flying around and hitting Rooney. But she found a way to get us 1, and then obviously we got to 2, 3, and 4. So I'm happy for her.
Ryan, what do you think is the biggest difference in this year's teams as opposed to the last 3 who have came up just short?
Well, I think with every group, you're going to have some adversity. The last 3 teams have come up a little bit short from the ultimate goal, and if you're part of 1 or 2 or 3 of those teams, how do you maybe next time around try to make it a little bit better? And so it's a learning process, and sometimes it's a hard learning process. And certainly for our seniors, they've been through it. It's been challenging, but you hope they learn from it. And as we get ourselves organized for Saturday afternoon's game, some of the things that they take away from the last 3 years will be helpful in trying to win Saturday's game.
What do you know about Robert Morris? What have you, I guess, learned about Robert Morris in the last 12 hours or so?
Well, I know Leah Carey, real good friends. Their family and our family are good friends. She played for my sons with the Capitals, and they're having a great year. They've played Clarkson and done well against them, and so, it take a couple days to try to figure out who they look like. But probably the most important thing is what we're capable of doing, and, playing, at our level and playing our A game. And if we do that, that should be confidence enough that it'll give us the best chance to win. And so we'll look at what they look like and some of the tendencies that they do, but more importantly is our preparation this week and get ourselves ready to come out, and when they drop the puck Saturday afternoon, be ready to go.
Mark, can you quantify the advantage you have playing at home? You've had sellout after sellout after sellout. The crowd is a pretty familiar ally for you, but can you put into words what that means, being able to play in front of that group?
It's huge. I mean, so our body of work gives us the opportunity to play a home game, and as I've said in the past many years, this is the toughest game to win, just because you're so close to the Frozen Four, but yet you can be so far away from it. And I think having an opportunity to play in front of our fans, helps our players. And if you haven't been here before and played here, a bunch of our teams within our league have now played under that atmosphere, so they understand what it's all about. But it'll be a great atmosphere. They're going to bring a band. We'll have our band. It'll be sold out, and so I know our players will be energized, and you just don't know how the other team's going to react in that surroundings until they drop the puck. So it should help us from the standpoint that the players love playing in front of the fans. Our fans are knowledgeable. They get engaged within the game, and it's fun to watch.
Was it comforting for you to see the goals start to go in the third period yesterday after, getting so many chances and having a couple good goalie performances against you, seeing that it happened, had to be a little bit reassuring.
Yeah, it was, I didn't know how it was going in, but I kept relaying to the players, keep trying to get some quality chances because, history tells me that eventually it's going to go in. It might not happen that game, but, you continue to get quality grade A chances and, something's got to go in. And so, a puck off a skate goes in, and that's what you're looking for, something along those lines. Because there were a couple of saves in the second period that I looked over at Jackie, my assistant, I started shaking my head. One, she didn't even see, hit her right in the middle of the mask. And then another one, she was moving to her left, throws her blocker out top shelf and makes a beautiful save. So it was like, oh boy, it could be one of those days where she's going to make 65 saves and, we might lose 1-0. So those are the challenges that you have as players, and the big thing is not to get frustrated. And as I mentioned yesterday after the game, is just trying to continue that puck pressure, create some turnovers, and continue to get those quality chances. And we were able to do that. So but as I got home last night and I'm sitting down relaxing for 5 minutes, and I throw on Sports Center, and I see Sarah Nurse at number 4, and after they get done with that clip, they say, oh, more from that game, and I'm trying to figure out what's left. And it must have been one of Rooney's saves, and I didn't see the actual save. I saw Sarah going in on the breakaway, but I didn't see the actual save because we get the worst seats in the house on the bench. But I saw it twice last night on Sports Center. It's just like, wow, that was one of those days where she played extremely well. We were lucky enough to get 4 by her, but how that puck stayed out on that shorthanded shot was amazing and showed the athletic ability of the goaltender.
If you don't mind, I'd
I'm not flexible. I don't think I could do that right now at my age.
like to change the subject for a moment, if you don't mind. You've been part of a lot of special teams. The 1977 team here is going to celebrate its 40th anniversary on Saturday. What was so special about that club, Mark?
Well, I think a lot of people talk about the power play. I don't know the exact numbers, in the 90s of power play goals we scored that year. And the game's changed. Goaltending has changed over time, but there's some teams that go through the whole season now, I don't think, score 95 goals. We had 90-some power play goals that year. So it was a team coming off, a coaching staff. My dad and Grant Stanbrook came back from the Olympics. They brought back Steve Alley and John Taft, who participated in that 76 Olympic team. And, it's like my team now. If you have good chemistry, you have good leadership, you have a bunch of good players, you have a chance to have a special season. And certainly the depth of that team, the scoring. I remember, I think it was the first game, we played Michigan 7 times that year. We played them 4 regular season games, and then we played them in the playoffs, and then we played them in the NCAA championship game. And I think it was the first game of the year we played them, or in my first game, I ended up missing a penalty shot, and we ended up losing. And I remember how heartbroken I was as I started my career. But after that night, it was a special group, and a lot of characters on that team, but a lot of good hockey players. So there's a lot of great memories that I take away from it, similar to what I saw yesterday, where at the end of the game and the puck goes in and everybody's throwing their gloves, and it's a good time. But it was, the national championship game was outstanding. I mean, we go up 5-2, and you think you're in pretty good shape, and, you hesitate for a few minutes, and all of a sudden it's 5-5 going in overtime, and Michigan's got about 8,000 of their fans there, and I think we had about 8,000 of our fans at the old Detroit Olympia, and we were fortunate enough to score. But you look at the semifinal game, and Mike Eaves scoring off a face-off, which you don't see very regularly. Usually a puck will go back and someone will shoot, but that puck hit the ice, and Mike shot it right off the referee dropping it right short side under the glove. And you look at that New Hampshire team we played with, Ron Langway. Some of the players that they had that went on to play in the National Hockey League. It was a good team. It was a special team. It's been a long time since that group's been together, so hopefully a lot of guys are coming back, and it'll be fun to connect with them.